Can you see the phone in my hand or no?
No. Okay, you are now officially live.
Are we all?
When
Can you
the
see me?
sequence up.
Okay. Hey everyone, this is Julie Sandoval with the Saltwater Adventures team with Remax All-Star in Madeira Beach. Have Fernando here. Leslie, get closer. This is Leslie.
We have a
She's
special
Miss
guest
Energy
today.
title. She's our special guest, and she's joining us. Fernando, have you take over real quick?
We have an agenda. If you want to follow along, go to our blog. So www.rem.ax/our blog. Very well. Okay. So we're going to talk today about avoiding scams, fraud, tricks, bait and switch, and all kinds of ugly stuff going on in real estate so that you're more informed and you're able to detect these things early and you don't become a victim. So
Yes.
I'm going to start off real quick, with some gratitude.
Gratitude for.
First of all, I'm very grateful that we live in Florida, where even though we think 50 degrees is cold, it's nothing like what they're experiencing up north, and we're so sorry for you guys if you're tuning in from up north, but that's my gratitude.
Yes. Leslie, what are you grateful for this week?
I am also grateful for the weather and that we are not sitting in the negative 50.
I'm grateful. I just got my buyers under contract late last week, and we had a great home inspection today, so we're moving forward, and they're amazing, and I love working with them and the lenders that we're working with too. So, yeah.
So if you love this broadcast and you want to share it later on, we'll be posting it on our blog. You can share the blog later after the end of the day tomorrow. So let's jump right in and start talking about some fraud or tricks or techniques and that kind of thing. So one of the things I want to talk about is when they advertise, we sell your home or we'll buy it. It seems pretty attractive. It's a guaranteed sale. These people are going to list your home, and if they don't sell it, they're going to buy it. So that is one of the things that you need to be aware of, is you need to read the fine print and understand what you're signing before you get involved in that kind of situation. Because what happens is, the way these programs are structured is they'll make you sign a contract saying that your home will be priced at or slightly below market value, and then there's going to be a very aggressive pre-agreed upon price reduction schedule. So every 2 weeks you're going to be reducing $5,000 for example. And at the end of the, let's say 90 days or 60 days, whatever the term is, they will buy your home, but they'll buy it at 60-70% of market value. So probably not the best thing to do unless you're just really in a hurry or just trying to get rid of it. So get some other opinions, consult with someone like us, and get some more information before you jump in the waters on that one. Okay, so let's go on to the next one.
So this is basically on the selling side, where you're listing your house for 1% or for free. And I don't want to call this a complete scam. However, you are still paying a buyer's agent to bring you buyers, so it's not really 1%. You're probably going to be paying between, oh my gosh, sorry, I just had a brain freeze. You're going to be paying between probably about 3.5% to 4%, because you're going to be paying for that buyer's agent too. I did quite a bit of research. I made some notes. So let me just read kind of what I had. Some of them do charge a flat fee as well. And some of these programs you pay whether you sell or not. Some are only when you actually sell the home. I guess maybe the part that I want to kind of call like uncomfortable as a seller is if it's on opendoor.com. I hate to call them out, but if it's vacant, they actually have an app that you put on your phone, and anyone from the public can come into your home at any time, and no one's there, but they can, hit the app, go right into your home, ta-da, and you're done. So I don't know how comfortable people feel doing that, and I'm sure that they disclose that up front, but a little.
Right, Julie, I've actually had to download the app and get into a home, and that is pretty scary, because anyone without a pre-approval, without a realtor, without anything can just get into any home, and you don't know what that person's going to do once they're inside that home.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome.
Okay. That's it? You got it?
Yeah. That's
all right. The other item on the list is if you see a sign on the side of the road that says, "We pay cash for houses." We see those a lot probably. You're stopped at the light. You're thinking, I want to sell my house and I don't really want to hire a realtor, and we pay cash for houses. Those folks are mostly all wholesalers. In fact, a lot of times I will call the number just to kind of pick their brain a little bit. and get a median baseline of what it is they're offering and what it is they're doing. And most of them wholesalers. They're just going to pay 70% of the market value for your home. They'll give you the cash. They're going to pocket that 30% equity in their pocket and leave you out of it. You may be stuck paying a lot of closing costs. So it pays to have a real estate agent try to get you as close to 100% of your market value. So again, consult with us if you have any questions about that.
Absolutely. So on the buyer side, we kind of looked back at where you get cash back, or maybe the lender's paying your closing costs, and that's their MO. So I'm not going to call anyone out. I think we all know who this company is that's doing that. Ironically, as much research as I did trying to find how they recoup this money and giving all this money out, it's really hard to find. The only thing that I could really fathom is that maybe it's a higher interest rate, maybe their fees are higher to originate the loan. I don't know, but I would just be leery because these companies seem to be more and more, and just really watch your contract, ask the hard questions.
Yeah, and once they've got you inside the office and you're involved and you're in negotiations with them, it's going to be really hard to stop, stand up, go find another lender and start over. So really want to do your homework ahead of time first. And that's the reason why they don't put all the fine print online, because they don't want you to know the details.
Right. Well, and I guess here's the thing is that now this company has their own real estate agents. And so now you're tied in completely. So it just buyer beware.
Yeah, they've got you.
So, okay, Fernando, that's all I have.
Well, the next one we're going to let you do.
Wire fraud.
Wire fraud.
Wire fraud. It is the fastest growing crime in the state of Florida. So once you go under contract, you definitely want to make sure that your agent provides the telephone number to your title company. Never accept wire instructions from your agent or any other party. Once you get those wire instructions from your title company, make sure that you call them. Do not use number on the wire instructions. Google the title company, get the telephone number, call them, speak to somebody, protect yourself. It happens, and it happens more often than we want to see that happen.
Yeah. Leslie, I have a question. Do you guys ever text the wiring instructions? Or
Never.
no?
We will
Okay.
never text the wire instructions. Any reputable company will never take your wire instructions via an email as well. So when you get those wire instructions, it's really important, pick up the phone, call, make sure that they came from your closer, and that you are getting the complete information, and they are valid wire instructions.
Yes.
And as real estate agents, Julie and I will never email you asking you for money, asking you to PayPal something, asking for your social security number. We will never do that. If that ever happens, if you see a strange email like that, pick up the phone and call your agent and call us and say, hey, what's this all about? You know,
We also won't send the wire instructions to you either.
as well. We will not send them as well.
And they should never change throughout your transaction. So if you wire in your escrow deposit, the wire instructions for your final amount to close will always remain the same. Title companies do not change bank accounts.
Right. Very good. All right.
True that.
So, all right. So now we're going to move on to loan fraud. So this is called a straw buyer. And when I was at Keller Williams, I had somebody come in and with a bag of I think there was a bunch of cash in there, and they wanted to procure a loan and put this cash in, and it was all very, very fishy. I felt very uncomfortable. And I mean, let me explain what a straw buyer is. A straw buyer is somebody who's going to purchase the property but is not going to live in it. They're purchasing it on behalf of someone else. Now that sometimes is okay if you have a college student and the parents are purchasing the property for the college student. That's okay as long as the lender is aware of what's happening, is aware of what's going on. But when you've got maybe some big drug dealer or somebody and he wants to purchase a home but he doesn't want to give out any information, and he hires somebody to purchase the home for him, or somebody that has good credit is applying for the loan but actually somebody else is living in the property, that's fraud, and that is punishable by federal law, and it's a very, very serious thing. We actually had this guy, I just stopped him and I said, look, you need to talk to my lender and you need to tell him exactly what it is you're doing. And at that point he just started retracting and saying, oh, I'm going to have to call you back, I can't answer that question, I can't answer this question. And at that point we just give him that Have a nice day is what we tell them, right? All right, go ahead.
All right, so my next is hitting the request more button on what we call like big box real estate, Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. I'm sure I'm missing some. So basically, if you want every real estate agent in a certain area to call you, keep hitting that button on the website. And then you're wondering why you're getting all these phone calls from real estate agents. I suggest actually finding your real estate agent before you start searching for a home. Interview agents, interview 3, see who you're comfortable with, see what resources they offer you, see what lenders they work with, title companies, see who their team is. But when you're hitting that button on Zillow and Trulia and Realtor.com, they're selling your information. We have our own website that you can search on, stpetecommunity.com. And when you hit the request more information button, it's just coming to Fernando and I. So you know that we're not selling your information and we're going to be the only ones in touch with you.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. We keep your information private. We never share it with anyone that you don't tell us to share it with. So that's a very good point.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next one's yours.
Next one's for Leslie.
Post-closing mails. So once your deed and or your mortgage is recorded, every con artist in the county and probably in the state is going to come out of the woodworks. You're going to get all kinds of unsolicited mail. There's nothing your title company or your agent can do about that. They purchase a list on the courthouse stairs each morning of all the recorded documents. So you will get things in the mail that say you have to buy a copy of your deed. It's $80, looks really official. You don't. Your title company can provide it for you. You can pull a copy from the public records. You just have to be vigilant because they are coming out and they are trying to get everything they can from you.
Yeah, definitely trying to take advantage
Yes.
of taking your money, your hard-earned money.
I don't know, right? Okay.
Okay.
The other thing is open house sign-ins. Another thing, back to what Julie's point was, to hire your real estate agent first and get someone on your side that's going to protect your personal information. If you are going to be in the habit of going to one open house, to another open house, to another open house, to another open house, and you're going to be putting down your personal information at each open house, guess what? Those agents are going to call you, and that's their job. Their job is to help you, to take care of you. Their job is to answer your questions. They're just trying to help. But if you don't have an agent and you're just talking to everyone, everyone's going to be talking to you, and I don't know that that's something you want. So just to make you aware, and please don't put wrong information in there. That's very annoying for everybody. Come in, show them the business card, say I'm already working with Fernando and Julie, so I don't have to share you my information. You can share your first name and say if you have questions, call Fernando and Julie, they will address it. So we're there to help.
The next one is fake listings and fake like rental scams on Craigslist or Zillow. We see them there too. I would say we mostly see it on the rental side, so just buyer beware. They will actually take our photos that we have on the MLS and on Zillow, and they'll say that the home is for rent and it is actually for sale. I guess what you want to be careful is, I would always call the agent ahead of time. If you see a for sale sign in that yard or in the pictures, or if you see it on both sides, call the agent right away. More than likely, if they're looking for a rental, it is definitely a scam. They're going to ask you for some deposit, and they're going to ask you for
first
month's rent, and then they're going to say, yeah, we'll mail you the keys. I'm from out of state, and what happens is you pay this money and you never get the keys, and the house is actually for sale, and you're there and you don't know who to blame. So biggest thing is, if you do see this and you talk to the agent and you know that it is for sale, not for rent, contact Zillow, contact Craigslist, because they will take this down, and this will help, at least alleviate some of the pain for everybody. So just be careful, buyer beware again.
Yeah, always talk to the either your agent. Your agent should be doing their job and searching for you. This is one of the issues that we have, is if you're just out there looking at signs and calling on signs, or you're on Craigslist and calling phone numbers, how do you know you're really talking to the person that's representing that property? This is why it's so important to have an agent on your behalf taking care of these things for you. Otherwise, you could get, I couldn't tell you how many times I've had people call me and say, yeah, I found your listing on Craigslist, it says for rent, I'm here at the property, I saw your phone number and I called you, and I say, stop, just stop right there, this is fraud, do not proceed.
Well, and these thieves, they actually do a lot of the homework, so they know the owner's name. You know, this is all public record, so it's easy for them to get. And they just say that they're out of town, and they, you know, phone numbers. Everyone has a cell phone number now, so it's harder to track those. So they really do their homework. So you do your homework too.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right. This is one that I know very little about, and I hope you
Yes.
can educate us on this
People
one.
taking control of your title to your home. We have discovered recently 16 properties in Pinellas County, and there are many more that were stolen. So what they do is they obtain a copy of your actual deed or your actual mortgage that's recorded in the public records. They are so good at this that they can fake your signature. They have notary stamps, and everything is filed electronically nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So what they do is they redeed that property either to another company or to themselves. You have no knowledge of it. You continue to make your mortgage payments. You think everything's fine. Somebody shows up at your door and they say, I now own this house. You can get it taken care of, but many thousands of dollars in attorney's fees.
Wow.
You have to jump through hoops. It can be years. I mean, you have to initiate a suit to quiet the title to your property. I mean, you definitely don't want to do that. So a title company it's always best to go through an agent and a title company. You don't want to do a for sale by owner without having an agent involved somewhere and without having a title company involved somewhere, because that's where your protection comes from. Recently, when we discovered these things that were happening, it was with an investor, and he was going to buy 16 properties.
Oh, wow.
And through our looking and our being vigilant, we noticed that all of these properties had been vacant for a while.
Wow.
The signatures didn't match, the notary stamps didn't match, but they did a really good job. So if we weren't being vigilant and watching out for
Right.
it, they probably would have been able to get them through. But it is a growing problem, and our title company offers a buyer protection.
Mm-hmm.
So after closing for 1 year, and it can be continued after that, but for 1 year at no charge to you, we continue each month to run title updates for you. And we make sure that you still are in title, no one's satisfied your mortgage, and that you don't have any fraud that's being taken against you. And you get an email once a month from Synergy Title, from your agents, that says, okay, everything's fine, you can sleep tonight, no one's stolen your property.
Yeah.
It's a really good protection to have, because it is, especially against seniors now, it's a growing crime, and it's just amazing the things you can do on a computer now.
Right, wow.
Is there any other way to protect yourself besides the title update?
You could do your own update if you know how to do it, but I think most consumers don't know how or don't want to. It's much easier to have us do it for you.
Right, yeah.
And you'll get a monthly update.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
All right, so the next one's mine. Instant offers to sellers. There's a program out there from a company that shall be nameless, and they're basically allowing you to enter your address, and they'll give you an instant offer on your property. Again, goes back to what I was saying earlier about the wholesalers or the investors only wanting to give you 70% of your home's value. You may not realize what your home's value actually is. We do have an automated home value on our website. Go to stpetecommunity.com and click on what's my home worth button, and that'll give you just an automated value. But the best way to find out what the value of your home is in today's market is to talk to Julie and I, have us walk through the home, tell us about your improvements, and we'll give you the home's value. If you just do one of these instant offers things, here's the fraud part, is they've been busted manipulating the automated value. So they'll come to you and they'll say, listen, your home is not worth the $300,000 that it was worth last year, now it's only worth $250,000. You know, we'll give you the $250,000, a full fair market value for that home, and if they convince you of that, they convince you that's the real value, you'll hand your house over and they'll pocket that $50,000 and see you later. So be very careful. That's happening a lot in the West Coast right now, in Nevada, Arizona, in California. So, and it's coming this way. We've heard it's coming this way. They're going to start doing it here. And it's just, they're making you agree to that. So there's not a lot of illegal, you can't really sue. You kind of agree to it. You sign the paperwork. So it's just more of a buyer beware situation. So.
So my next little fraud tidbit is actually similar to the 1% commission, but it's a flat fee MLS. So for a flat fee, an agent offers to put your listing in the MLS, and that you do pay that up front. That's just what you do. But what happens is you're still technically a for sale by owner, so you don't have anyone protecting you and negotiating for you. The biggest problem that I see is that if this for sale by owner who's paid this flat fee to be in the MLS then does decide to hire an agent, because 95% do hire an agent, if they want to reset the clock on the MLS timer, or there's no question about it, you have to take your property off the market for 60 days, or the timer just keeps going, so it'll restart with the new agent, but it will show your total days on market. And the longer you're on the market, buyers automatically think that there's something wrong with the house, when there might not be anything wrong with the house. But that's the first thing that any buyer asks me. If it's been on the market more than 60, 70 days, they're asking me what's wrong. So it's not really helping you in the long run. If you don't sell your house during that time, it's actually hurting you. And then you have to wait a minimum of 2 months before you go back on the market.
Absolutely, and I've seen it time and time again when I work with buyers. I mostly work with sellers, but I have recently worked with a buyer where he was just telling me, what's wrong with this house, what's wrong with this house, it's 120 days in the market. And whether there's malicious intent or not, the buyer is trying to get the best deal possible. And if your home's been on the market for a long time, they're going to use that as an excuse to say, hey, you're probably getting desperate by now. I want to get deals, so we're going to cut that price down, aren't we? So on the other side, on the flip side of the coin, I have sellers who tell me, you know what, I'm not really that motivated. I'll let the house sit on the market for a year. And they don't realize what that's doing to them. They don't realize that they're actually going to lose money. Listen, if you don't want to sell your house, don't sell your house. If you want to wait till July, then put it on the market. Put it on the market in June. Don't put it on the market in December and say, I've got a whole year to plan or whatever, because you're just hurting yourself. Talk to Julie and I about that. We'll go into more. We'll break that down. We'll unpack that for you a little bit better, and we'll tell you what's going on with that. So, okay.
Seller's disclosures.
Sellers saying that they've never occupied the home and they are under no obligation to disclose anything about the home. This is very common with investors. Investors will buy a home, they'll put some contractors in there, they'll put some lipstick on the pig or paint the house, and then they'll put it on the market, and maybe they'll hire us to sell the home, and then they'll say, never occupied the home, I'm under no obligation to disclose anything. That is actually false. By Florida law, you have to either disclose any material information that could affect the value of the home, or you have to specifically type a letter or an email saying, I hereby, I'm telling you that I know nothing about this home, and this is my declaration. You have to do one of those two things. We prefer that the disclosure statement is actually filled out, which means, look, if you worked on the plumbing, if you did the painting, if you were inside the house at all, you know something about the house. You can't say you knew nothing about the house. So let's comply with Florida law. Let's play fair, and let's fill out those disclosures. Ask us how to do that. Ask us to give you the right paperwork and get that requirement fulfilled.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a big one. Fernando and I go on a lot of listing appointments, and it's agents giving a high valuation of your home and dropping their commission. So, and I have a story behind this as well, but so basically they're just trying to buy the listing. They don't care that if you want to sell it or not. They're gonna walk in, and let's just say it's a $200,000 house, and they're gonna be like, I can sell this for $300,000 and I'm gonna do it for 4%. Just beware of those agents. They're not really gonna do their job. They probably don't have any kind of marketing plan. There was a listing that we were supposed to take last year, and ironically, that seller had referred their neighbor to us, and we sold their neighbor's house in less than a month for the price that they wanted. So we went back. They had to wait. They were building a home, and so we kept in contact. they had another agent come in that had sold them the house originally and said, we can sell this for $60,000 more, and I'm gonna just do it for 1% less. And those sellers just ate that up right away. But they ended up being on the market for 2 months, and they sold for the price that we said it was going to sell for anyways.
Luckily, because they probably would have had to sell for less now that they've been on the market for 6 days.
So just, it's, they're just trying to buy the listing. So always interview, I would say, 3 agents for your listing as well, and ask them the hard questions. We have a list of those too on our website. So
yeah, during our first visit with the seller, we usually don't want to discuss. If they're interviewing 3 agents, we usually don't want to discuss price and commission at that meeting, because I tell my sellers, I don't want you to pick an agent based on what they tell you your home is worth, because they could be lying to you.
Yeah.
You need somebody who has a high amount of integrity, and you want to pick an agent based on their competency, their experience, their marketing plan, and who you feel comfortable working with, really. So that's one of the things. The next item I have is fake listings on Zillow, like pre-foreclosure. I have to throw Zillow on the
maybe
bus.
you could pitch in on that too. I don't know, like on the pre-foreclosure side.
After I say so.
Yeah, I know.
What happens is, if the now I'm all convoluted. So
Sorry.
if a lien is filed against the property, such as a bank lien or something like that, Zillow picks up on that and takes whatever photo happens to be in the history of that home and creates a listing for the home. And it says pre-foreclosure, which is totally correct and it's legal, but it's very, very deceiving. I couldn't tell you how many times I've had people call me and say, I want to see this house, I want to purchase this house. And I have to tell them, that house is not for sale. And they say, what are you, incompetent idiot? It's on Zillow. It must be for sale. They're not. That house is not for sale. It's just there was a court paper filed and the listing popped up, and now they're selling your personal information to all the agents that pay to be on that page. So what else do you have for that?
Anytime there's a foreclosure action that's being initiated, they're going to file list pendants. So that's where they're pulling it.
Right, that's where they're pulling it.
Yeah. That's also, people are, as we discussed earlier, stealing your title. They're looking for those things.
Yeah.
So they see that. They will actually go to the public records and satisfy that mortgage, and then they will sell the property. You think it's free and clear. It's not. That mortgage wasn't.
Wow.
No, it's satisfied a public record, but it's not satisfied.
Somebody else has that. Okay.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
The things you can do.
The things you can do.
But you shouldn't.
You shouldn't. It's
Now,
all illegal.
We're not trying to scare you. Please talk to the professionals. Talk to us about these kinds of things. We'll keep you safe. All right. Next one.
So the buyer deciding to only talk to the listing agent in order to purchase. So they're. Well, we all like the double-sided deal, right? However, Fernando and I kind of have our own little plan with this. Is that he usually will go with the seller, and I'll usually go with the buyer, because we need someone in between, and we don't want one party to feel favored over the other. So each one has equal representation. It's legal here in Florida to do that. We're transaction brokers. But we've had a few instances where we did have, each party thought that they were getting favorites, so it's just a new thing that we put in. But just remember, the listing agent is going to advocate very much so.
For the seller.
For the seller. So you want someone on your side that's going to protect you and your money and walk you through the process separately, which is how we came up with the idea to finally do that.
Yeah, a lot of times I get people to call me and they want to speak only to me because I'm the listing agent, and I've only done it once and I'll never do it again. I was accused by both parties of advocating for the opposite party, and everyone is screaming at me. So every time somebody calls me on a property that I'm the listing agent for, I say, do you have a real estate agent that you're working with, or do you have a friend or relative or somebody? And they are fiberglass, and they're like, what? Why wouldn't I just deal with you directly? I'm like, no, I really need you to get the proper representation, because I'm going to advocate for my seller. You want to buy this property, that's great, but I really recommend you hire a real estate agent. And they're just floored when I tell them that. And some will still insist and say, no, I still don't want to hire a real estate agent. I want to go strictly with you. And at that point, I say, okay, well, this is how it works. This is how our policy is. I'm going to refer you over to Julie, and Julie is going to negotiate on your behalf and protect your interests, and I'm going to protect the interest of my seller.
Yes.
And I think that's fair. It's legal, it's balanced, and everyone's happy. A lot more smiles that way, right?
Yes. Yes, very much so.
Okay. This one is one that I found I didn't know about until I started Googling it, but apparently it's a very common thing. People pose as realtors. They don't have a license. They're not real estate agents. They just make up business cards that says they're a realtor. And they will ask you for your escrow deposit. And they will ask you for your rent deposit too. They'll pretend that they're rental realtors. And in one story that I heard, this was a common thing that was going on apparently, not in Florida but in another state, where they would put in an ad for rent on a property, and then you would call, and the criminal, I'm going to say that the suspect would say, yes, I'm representing the seller, I'm going to meet you at the property, and I'm going to show you the property, the owner is John or whoever, feel free to walk with John, but don't talk to John about price, rent, or deposits. Do not do that. I will take care of that for you. As you are driving on the way to the rental property, you'll get another phone call from the suspect, and the suspect will say, I've been in a car accident, I'm not going to make it, so just go ahead and talk with John directly about the home and about viewing the home, but again, don't talk to John about the rental price or the deposit. I'm going to make it up to you, and I'm going to negotiate a better deal than what he's going to be doing. So I'm going to take care of all that for you. Fair enough?
Yeah.
So then you go in there, you meet the owner, and you walk the house, and you say, yeah, I want to rent this house. I love it. And you leave. John doesn't know anything. And then you call your agent, your suspect, and the suspect says, great, instead of $1,600 a month, it's going to be $1,500 a month. I'm going to need a check for $3,000, and we'll get you going. They'll sign a lease. You'll give them the $3,000. You'll never see that person again. They'll disappear with your money.
Yep.
And then you go knock on the door again, and John will say, I don't know who you're talking about. I've never met that guy. And I guess it's happened quite a bit. It's pretty scary. Again, hire a real estate agent.
Yes.
And check our licenses online. Check our reputation online.
Really easy.
You can Google my name and the word reviews, or her name and reviews, and you will see that we have an online presence. You can go on the government's website and check our license, make sure it's active. You can do all those things to ensure that you're dealing with somebody of integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Would you ever have them write the check to you?
Never.
No, absolutely not. I
Never.
always tell people, I'm not taking your money.
Yeah.
Unless I'm wiring something in your house, I'll take your money. I used to be an electrician, but sometimes I help people wire.
Not wiring money, electrical.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Was that not clear? Sorry.
I'm just clarifying.
If you need a surround sound system wire, now it's turned into a commercial. If you missed any portion of this broadcast,
we have
hang
a
on just a
question.
second. If you missed any portion of this broadcast, you can go to this URL or share it with your friends. After tomorrow, I'll post it. We're not done yet. Julie wants to say something, and then we're going to take questions.
We have questions.
Great.
So Brandon asks, what's step one for consumers thinking about buying a home? Sounds like a lot can go wrong.
Okay.
Go ahead, Fernando.
What is
I know
step
you
one
want to
for
answer that.
consumers?
Step one for consumer when they're looking to buy a home.
When you're looking to buy a home, the first thing you should do is talk to your real estate agent, who's going to refer you to a mortgage broker, and who's going to talk with you about a title company as well. So you're going to start putting together your team. On our website, we actually have our team members right on there. You can go to stpcommunity.com and click financing. You can click agents. You can click on the community button, and it'll be a drop down, and then you can see contractors and vendors, which is, again, more mortgage people, more title companies, more legal attorneys, that kind of thing. The best thing to do is call your real estate agent first. That's really, I think, would be the first thing that I would recommend. And then we can go take it from there.
So as a seller, Leslie, what tips would you give for a seller before they even start selling their home?
I definitely investigate your agent. There's good, there's bad, there's good. So definitely check them out, check their reviews. Title company as well. Go online, make sure you're dealing with a reputable title company. Ask them who their underwriters are. Very important. You want to make sure that they have one of the major underwriters before you get into that.
Jenny says or asks, what is the best question to ask a title company to know that they are good?
That one goes to you.
Jenny.
Good question. Putting Leslie on the spot.
Definitely check. Find out how much experience your closer has, how long they have been doing it. If your closer's only been doing it 6 months, they're not going to catch the little things. So you want to make sure that you have a closer that has experience and that is going to be there to protect you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, ask questions. About
Yeah,
real
I
estate.
think people are scared, and if not, I mean, I would say watch this again and see what could go wrong, and that'll probably prompt some questions for you to start asking.
Ask questions of the title company too. If you don't know, it's our job to help you through that transaction. So call your title company, ask the questions, ask what they're doing for you.
Mm-hmm.
And on the ask the questions to a realtor end, if you go to our website, stpcommunity.com, and then you click on the blog button and go to one of the first blogs that we ever posted on there, there's a form there that says the top 10 questions to ask your real estate agent before you hire them. And most of the questions are sort of, I'll say 5 or 6 of the questions are more seller type questions, if you're a seller, because that's really what I made that for. But there's a good 4 or 5 questions there, depending on how you look at it, that are really going to tell you more about if this agent knows what they're talking about. I mean, there's certain questions in there that they're not meant to be tricky, but if you're a realtor that doesn't do this full time, you won't know the answers off the top of your head. You'll say, oh, I don't know. Or you might say, I don't know what that is. And so then you'll know that they're not.
Yeah.
If you're a buyer and you don't have an agent, is there a great charge to be represented by an agent?
It's actually absolutely free to work with us. It's free for us to give you advice, to give you guidance, to help you find a home. You can find a home on our website on stpcommunity.com. We don't charge anything. We're not high pressure salespeople. That's why we do these broadcasts, so you can get to know us a little bit better and understand that we are consultants, not salespeople. Don't be afraid. I mean, when we call you on the phone, we're not trying to bug you and steal your money. We're actually trying to help you and protect you, so just be aware of that. And in some instances, we do offer a $1,500 cashback rebate. If you're interested in knowing about that, it's in our blog as well, how that works. In certain circumstances and certain price ranges, we do offer a cashback rebate for working with us. So,
No, we already got that one.
which one?
Okay.
What else?
All right, no, I think we're done. And does anyone else have any other questions? We'll just wait and pause here for a minute.
Okay, great. How much time we got going on?
We're about at the end.
We're about the end.
All right, so I think we're done. I hope that this was informative. I learned a lot today. I learned a lot just doing my research for this, which was awesome.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you. Fernando's going to hold his sign up one more time.
I know. In case you got to write it down. So we have a lot of great information on our blog. We have breaking down mortgages. We have, I don't know, there's a lot of great stuff on there. So.
There's a lot of good information at synergytitle.com. Synergy Title. To guide you through the title process, give you a little bit of information on there as well.
All right, thank you, everybody. We'll see you hopefully next week. We're putting together the program for next week, so I can't plug it in yet.
Okay. Have a good night.
Thank you.